virtual June community development meeting. I certainly appreciate everybody joining us this morning. We have a very informational and interesting and exciting program this morning. I want to, if you would mute yourself real quick before we get started. We'll try to knock out some of the background noise. Very good, thank you. Marla will be monitoring for questions in the chat room, chat box. So please be sure to put your questions down there. We'll save some time at the end. I want to introduce the co-chairs, Drew Tyrer, Rob Porter, and Kevin Sanders. And I believe Rob Porter, Civil Site Design, is going to introduce our speaker this morning. Rob?
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everybody. I know everybody's got things going on. It's a busy Friday, so we'll get into this. Our speaker this morning is Mike Murphy with Cumberland Advisors. Many of us have met Mike over the last few years. He's an East Tennessee boy originally, but he's found his way to Middle Tennessee, lives in Williamson County right now. He went to University of Tennessee, and he is a developer and entrepreneur, and has developed a number of projects in Middle Tennessee, very high quality mixed use projects. He's done a lot of office building, retail, residential, all over the state of Tennessee. I know personally his latest venture is a nice office building complex in Nashville, just off of 440, called City View, and I'm familiar with that because I'm probably was one of his first tenants in that building. Civil Site moved in there about 2 years ago, and have been very happy with where we are. He's tried in Mount Juliet to do a development. Y'all may have remembered Mike on a project called Northtown about 3 years ago that did not make it through the process, but Mike's persistent, and he knows what Mount Juliet has going for it, and he has come back in and has actually been asked to help the Smart and Johnson families on their Providence Central project. Mike is the developer for that with those families. Of course, the Providence Central was a project that was approved about 7 years ago, and for a number of reasons, perhaps lack of capital to start such a large project, 268 acres. They have had a few land sales, a couple quality developments have come online already, but really need some traction, and Mike has been brought on to do that and provide that traction. So currently there's a amendment in front of the City Commission that has passed the first reading, or actually has had Planning Commission approval and first reading at City Commission, and subject to second reading in July for some amendments that enhance this project. And I believe Mike is going to go through the project with us this morning, kind of bring us the latest and greatest. So if you will, Mike Murphy, we will turn it over to you.
Great, thanks, Rob. I appreciate it very much. Now, Marla, are you going to be able to turn it over so I can put my screen up and kind of show the exhibits from here?
It should be ready for you to do that.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, can you guys see my screen okay? All right, perfect. Well, again, Rob, thank you. I'll give you a quick overview of the PUD amendment. I'll zoom in here a little bit, but before I do, let me orient you a little bit. you can see my mouse here, this is I-40 at the top of the screen. Over on the right hand of the page is South Mount Juliet Road, and then Central Pike over here, and the proposed interchange at Central Pike. Now let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see a little bit more detail on the actual PUD. Okay, I'll move around the screen a little bit, but I want you to be able to see some of these buildings on the overall plan. So right now, this is a 200-acre mixed-use development PUD that was approved originally in February of 2013. And so at the time, that PUD had approved uses of office, retail, commercial, hotel, and multifamily. And right before the project was approved, the commission at the time permitted this first, if you can see where my cursor is here, permitted this first multifamily development called Creekside. And that has been constructed. They pulled the approval for the second apartment site that was originally shown on the plan right here where we're proposing ours, and asked that the land developers, the landowners, come back when they had identified a developer. And so that's one of the major changes that we're asking for at this point. I have this 20 acres under contract, and I'll go through a little bit my plans for the multifamily on this site. That's one of the major changes that we're requesting in this PUD amendment. The second one is the fact that the PUD originally was approved with hotel uses as approved use. And somewhere along the line, that was taken off. And so that's the second thing that we would like to do, is add hotels back as a approved use within the PUD. And while I'm talking about uses, I realize that I've zoomed in on the screen, but I'll give you a quick overview. This is why all the different buildings have different colors on them. There's a legend here that denotes what type of use that is. So you can see the hotel is, I see that as kind of a pinkish purple color, but this is a hotel that is currently under construction. It's a dual brand hotel that's under construction right now. Now, Providence Parkway is currently in place up to this point, which is the entrance to the Creekside at Providence apartment complex, and it provides access to the hotel use here. So right now, that's where Providence Parkway stops. And so basically, over the past 8 years, the only thing that's happened out here is primarily this apartments and then this one hotel, and that's just been in the last year. And so in 2017, TDOT approved an access request providing for the interchange at Central Pike. And basically what that means is that obviously there's a whole list of things that they need to do, acquire right-of-way, survey, actually plan this out. So it's quite a process. But within that time frame, they have to have that contract let by 2025. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is promote the interchange and promote mixed-use development and office development right here at this interchange. And so as we were thinking through ways to do that, really the best way, in our opinion, is to extend Providence Parkway all the way to Central Pike and tie it in and utilizing the new alignment of Central Pike. And so that's what we're proposing to do. I mean, basically what we're proposing to do is get the zoning entitlements for this 20 acres of multifamily, 310 units. And when this closes, the funds would go into escrow, and those funds would be utilized to extend that infrastructure. That infrastructure, hard costs around $5 million. And if you put fees and right of way, it's, you know, $7 to $8 million gift to the city. So that's basically what we've got. I think it's important to understand the timing of all this, because one of the primary concerns of any multifamily project is traffic. And so basically, according to the traffic engineers, a apartment project of this size, around 300 units, will generate between, you know, 2,000 to 2,500 trips per day, which is about the same as an office building. Also about the same as a fast food restaurant, Chick-fil-A, anything like that. But what we believe the reality of the traffic situation in this instance is that it'll take us about 6 months to put this road in. And so 6 months after we break ground on both the apartments and this road, we'll have that road in, and traffic will be able to travel on here and maybe produce some sort of relief valve for South Mount Juliet Road. It's not going to be the panacea. It's not going to solve the overall equation, but certainly it is a positive, and it helps traffic in the short term. Now, these apartments will take 24 months to build, so this road will be in place for 18 months before we're even complete with the apartment project. And then it'll take another year to get it fully occupied with lease up and so forth. So, you know, it'll be almost 30 months of positive benefit before the full brunt of this apartment complex is brought online, before the traffic is realized on South Mount Juliet Road. Plus, one of the stipulations that has been put on us by the city is that we would not get our first occupancy for one until for sure this road is in. That shouldn't be a problem. And then two, there's a project here between TDOT and the city that is underway right now to widen this bridge across I-40. And we would not be able to get our first CO until, the earlier of the bridge completion project, or December 1 of next year. So with all that being said, we believe that the infrastructure that we're putting in is a net positive day one. But more importantly to that, the reality is what we're doing is we're basically opening up 175 acres that will be developed property within the city of Mount Juliet. We believe that this is the new gateway to the city of Mount Juliet, and it is the gem that's going to attract Class A office and the best retail that Mount Juliet has, ultimately. Now, we're going to focus on these areas adjacent to I-40, but the challenge has been, at least in my opinion, the reason why this project has sat here for 8 years with not very much going on is the fact that this Providence Parkway has not been put in. And then in addition to that, if we look at the timing for an office project here, we will be mass grading. I also have this 30 acres right here at the southeast quadrant of Central Pike and I-40 under contract. And this is stipulated for, these are mixed use buildings. The blue is office, and then here is the multifamily. And so what we're going to do is mass grade the 30 acres, and we're going to provide a building site for an office here with a concept plan. We will have that concept plan in place by midsummer. And so once the approval is in place for this PUD amendment, the mechanisms will be set up to where I can show a potential office user when this road's going to go in, when this pad will be ready, and then it'll take me about 2 years to build an office building on that site. So we can go out another 2 years from that. And so we're looking at about 3 years to deliver a Class A office building here. Well, that is well within the time frames of, you know, national corporations or even local major relocations. So it's a perfect time. We're hitting it at a perfect time for, you know, the economy and what's going on with the BNA, the Nashville International Airport. They're under a major expansion. So we are, you know, 10 minutes away from the airport. Obviously, you guys know the benefits of Mount Juliet is well or better than anybody else, but it is a, you know, it's a fantastic place. The school system is fantastic. So there's a lot of things that I can use to sell to corporations that are coming from other places or simply relocating from within Nashville. I am going to continue on with a brief overview, and then I want to take some questions and, you know, figure out, you know, anything that you guys want to know specifically about the project. I'll finish up with
Mike,
yes.
before you take that screen off, will you show the plans for Adams Lane Plaza, please, or Adams Lane Drive?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So again, the first phase would be to extend Providence Parkway, but anytime the next thing, and we believe that something in this area may be the next thing to go, but the next phase would be Adams Lane. This road is already rough cut in there. Utilities are in, so this would go in relatively quickly. And of course, right now, Mark, you know that Adams Lane continues here and goes along and produces an interchange here with John Hager Road. And so when the state comes in and does this interchange.
Hey, Mike. Mike, we've lost your audio. People can barely hear you.
Okay. Well, do you want me to dial in? Can you hear me now, Mark?
I think that's better. I see some heads nodding.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, if you'll let me know, I mean, I could always dial in if that.
We're okay now.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure where you lost me, but basically Adams Lane comes straight right through here, and you can see it, hopefully you see it on my plan. It goes along the I-40 right of way. But once the interchange comes in, that will have to be relocated because that intersection is right in the middle of the interchange. And so what's going to happen is we will stop Adams Lane here, relocate it, and create a T intersection here at Providence Parkway. And then over here on John Hager, this will be relocated, and ultimately we're working on the design with TDOT, but this is our ideas of how that would key into Providence Parkway. Ultimately we would have 2 signalized interchanges here. So does that provide a little bit more information, Mark, on the roadway?
I believe so. Thank you.
One other thing that I kind of didn't fully elaborate on is that this road has been designed to handle the ultimate build out of the PUD. So that'll be a 5-lane cross section with sidewalks and greenway. But initially we'll put that in as a 3-lane. And then as some of the other things come online, and the need is there, then we'll do the 5-lane cross section. I'd like to provide just a little bit more information on the multifamily as well. Here is the 20-acre multifamily site, and basically we are showing about 150 parking spaces in front. Those will be open to the public because we've got commercial uses along this frontage. This is a 2-story office retail building, about 12,000 feet. And then we have office along live work type commercial along the front of this building on the corner of this building. So that's kind of the way that will work. And then we'll have controlled access points here and here. And then these will be resident parking. I'm going to switch over here too and provide you kind of a quick overview of the architecture for the multifamily. As you can see, this is a large commercial building. It's designed to provide a traditional look, predominantly brick. And as you can see, this is the frontage here. So we've got storefront windows for commercial type uses. The center portion here is the clubhouse. And then in the back, we'll have pool and amenity space here. And the fitness area will overlook the pool, and we'll have large club rooms and a large storage. You know, Amazon and deliveries are big these days. We're going to have a large delivery room with refrigerators in it so people can get their groceries delivered and that sort of thing, come and pick it up. We'll have a mail facility in the clubhouse. So all those things, it's designed to promote community, and you know, we try to promote interaction between the residents, and that supports that community feel as well.
Mike, before you get off that slide, you might add that there are at least 60 residential units in this building. This is not a small, typical garden style type of apartment. This is a very new looking urban type product, all interior loaded, all interior access to all the units. But this building has over nearly 60, well, I think it is 60 units in addition to the commercial on the first floor. So this is a very large building. Yeah,
it's about it's over 300 feet long, so it's huge. And then so this building is the first building, Rob, and it is situated right here along the street. And the architecture for this commercial building will complement that. And then we've created a more formal garden space here, and I'll show you the elevations of these buildings here in a second. Let's see if I can flip to those. So that's the elevation for those other buildings. Those are also large. These buildings have, 42 units in them each. And then the buildings along the periphery are also, these are significant buildings. And this is the one that's up front. It has the commercial look to the front of that building that'll match the first building. Rob, is there anything that I've omitted or you can think of that we need to highlight?
One of the updates to the PUD, as we were including or reestablishing the multifamily use and added the hotel uses back to the PUD, we also re-looked at the land plan for the 250 acres just to give it a new look as what the market was looking for today. And as obviously coming off the new interchange would be more retail oriented type users along Central Pike, with the office coming along the interstate. So we actually did an update to the plan itself. We've actually got room for spaces allowed and pads being looked at for a big box user that the city's been chasing for years. We actually have a spot for them if they choose to come in here. We have right at the interchange the possibility for a conference center that we don't have an opportunity for today. There's just no land for what Mount Juliet has, so we're establishing that possibility coming in there on the interchange. So in addition to, I think there's, I forget, 6 hotel spaces if I remember right, maybe 7, but so we've added and that's over 1,000+ feet of frontage and use. And I don't know if there's 6 more hotels out there that can come into Mount Juliet. Mount Juliet has a pretty strict requirements on hotels, and that's good. But we provided for some additional users coming in. One of the changes to our plan just at the intersection of Providence Parkway and Central Pike, we actually are wanting to create more of an urban, very walkable office mixed-use complex. You see these 4 L-shaped buildings there at that intersection, and those are all mixed-use buildings. This is a mixed-use project overall, but these buildings themselves are mixed-use with retail and office, and one of the buildings actually would have a hotel in it. So you're looking at a lot of the components that you see in Cool Springs that we're bringing into this project in Mount Juliet. So it's what the market's wanting. There's not any other place in Mount Juliet that this has that opportunity to come in. So we really are excited about this. I contend that as important as Providence was 19, 20, or 18 or 19 years ago, I contend that this project is perhaps second as important to this city as what it will bring that's not here today. So this is a really cool thing that we're on the edge of hopefully getting started in the next few months.
Mike,
Well,
would you please address the conversation about left turning off of Adams Lane Plaza or Adams Lane Drive onto North Mount Juliet Road or South Mount Juliet Road?
I'm sorry, Mark, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Mike, it's the city had asked us there at Adams Lane and Mount Juliet Road. There's currently a double right turn off of Belinda Parkway turning north towards the interstate, and there's a single left turn lane coming off of Adams Lane onto Mount Juliet Road headed north, and they asked us to increase that left turn by 1 lane to have a double left turn lane for potential movements back to the north towards the interstate coming out of Adams Lane. We've agreed to do that. We've gone out and done some evaluation of the intersection. There's actually room to do it. We'll have to widen on both sides of the road to get the extra 12-foot lane in, but that will certainly increase the capacity for the double left turn and get them out towards the interstate quicker.
Well, that's a good point, and that's going to significantly help the circulation here. If you look at 3 traffic signals along South Mount Juliet Road with the circulation that you'll be able to do once this Adams Lane connector is in, I think that's going to be a major benefit to this eastern portion of the development.
You know, slide back down to the interchange, Mike. I know you showed it, but that's a Diverging Diamond. It's a new high traffic interchange designed by TDOT. They currently have a similar one down in Cool Springs. It's similar to what's at the Speedway exit on 840. There's one at similar type of project at Opryland Hotel. Y'all familiar with those interchanges? Those are actually designed for high volume traffic getting in and out of this on the Central Pike and back onto the interstate. So the traffic generated by this project and the traffic that is planned on taking from Central Pike will be very easily handled on this interchange as it's getting built. But that's where the beauty of this project, you're going to have an interchange that's very easy to get on and off of into an office mixed-use development, and that's part of the attractiveness of this development.
I totally agree, Rob, and I think that is maybe the most important thing, because while none of us can have that much influence on TDOT directly, showing the fact that we're putting this infrastructure in and promoting and having these commercial areas ready for new development is something that we can do to show TDOT, and there's a possibility, especially if we land an anchor tenant in one of these areas here, or anywhere in Providence for that matter, that could accelerate this time frame, so where they could let that contract before June of 25. And so to me, that's the significance. The other thing that you hit upon is the fact that this is designed as a high speed and high volume. That can't be overlooked, and the benefit of that is several fold. One, from just a practical standpoint, that is why this is such a great area for commercial development, because we're so close to Davidson County and Nashville, but yet we're the bedroom community with a lot of these with parks and the schools and all that, and so it's a reverse commute from Davidson County. So that is why it's going to be so important for these office users. And the benefit to the city and the county is that we can get people in and out of here quickly, and then they leave their tax dollars here, and that benefits the entire city. In addition, from the interchange access report that was approved by TDOT, there's a lot of statistics in there of how that's going to affect the South Mount Juliet Road, and a couple of those numbers, it's going to alleviate 70%, 68% of the eastbound traffic coming in from I-40. So rather than, right now you have to come up here, but obviously when this interchange is in, it's going to take almost 70% of that traffic off of South Mount Juliet Road initially. It's going to take 40% of the traffic headed back to Nashville today. And so it's going to provide the benefit and the solution to the traffic congestion on South Mount Juliet Road. And so what we believe that we're doing is facilitating the runway to get to this point, and then work with TDOT to, if they put this in and we don't have Providence Parkway in, where's that traffic going to go? It's like a fire hose to a 2-inch, connection. So what we're providing that and working with TDOT, and it's going to make this much more functional, and it's going to be apparent to the real estate community and the office users that we'll be able to get in here. So it's one other thing about the taxes. Of course, this is, this will be at least a 10 to probably a 20-year build out of all of it. This is a significant amount of square footage and land area for this type of commercial. But we're looking at today's values, and given the square footage that we're talking about, it's going to generate $6 million in tax revenue for the city and the county. Now, the bulk of that does go to the county, about $5 million to the county, but the city, through city taxes and retail taxes, will generate $1 million a year. And so 50% of the county budget basically goes to schools. So between the portion of sales tax and their property tax, there's $2.5 million that will be generated each year from this development that will be dedicated to schools. And I think that's a significant thing, because if you can maintain that school system, and we have the access and we have I-40 here, I just think that this is an area of Middle Tennessee that's going to ignite on fire for Class A office.
Mike, I want to go back to a point you made early on, that we have been working with TDOT through the, since we started on this, actually for the last 7 or 8 years, we've been working with the state on the new interchange and where it needs to go and how it fits in and incorporate into this development. But we actually got, and I know the mayor has indicated this is his priority project right now, is to get this interchange in and funded and under construction. But part of what we had asked TDOT through all this is not only incorporating what their needs are into this project, but trying to come up with what the schedule would be, not just for our project, but for the city, to understand how all this sort of dovetails together. But all y'all know the planning part has been approved by the state and the Federal Highway Administration. They've funded it under the Improve Act. This is one of the projects funded under that Improve tax a few years ago. The city and the state have hired an engineer to design the interchange. They've had surveying has begun. They estimate the surveying will be done in July sometime. And and we've actually gotten the commissioner of TDOT, Clay Bright, to write a letter to us just outlining these things. And in the letter, he actually commits that the right-of-way acquisition is expected to begin in 2 years. So if the city and the state continue the final design process, they're shooting for right-of-way acquisition to begin 2 years out. Construction could begin soon thereafter, and then he's expecting, of course, the absolute deadline it has to be done, because that's when the permit for the interchange expires, is in 2027. He just commits that it'll be done by then, but he's told us that this project will certainly help push that date forward. We've had meetings with the state economic development department, and they've actually indicated that with the opportunity for 5 or 6 or 7 corporate headquarter type buildings, that any of these coming online would push that help push that interchange date forward to provide access for that. So all this is being worked together by a lot of different groups to try to push this forward. And all this really, and the big thing about extending Providence Parkway to Central Pike also cleans up all the Adams Lanes and Hager Road issues for TDOT, and incorporates a new intersection into their plan that helps push that along for them. So everything about this is positive towards that interchange and when that start date will ultimately be.
I totally agree. And the time frames that you were talking about for the interchange itself dovetail really well with what we're planning on Providence Parkway and the development of the PUD itself. I mean, they're really complementary, and we believe that they will help push that along, especially if we can land an anchor tenant and a corporate headquarters or two, which we should be able to do, actually. One other thing that I wanted to kind of circle back to, Rob, is your discussion about how we've updated the plan. This is a significant factor, and you know, it really is what the current development, you know, what's really hot in the development area right now is integration of these uses and making them totally integrated, even in the buildings where you would have retail and then office above. You have hotel adjacent to a retail and commercial area, and it's all walkable and interconnected and basically seamless. So that's really important. And again, that's the other thing, as you mentioned, that we've done to update this PUD. Do we have any other questions or comments?
There are several questions in the chat, Mike. Can you see them? Do you want me to read them?
I cannot see them. So please.
Okay, we have one that says, why not do the 5 lanes from the beginning? Why are we doing it in 2 phases?
Well, it's simply not needed right now. So it's a phase in of the money that it would take to extend that road. But what I will say is that we are putting in the infrastructure for 5 phases. In other words, we're grading it to 5 phases. It'll be ready to go. And so the only thing we have to do is go back and add those 2 lanes.
Okay. Will Central Pike be widened all the way to Mount Juliet Road?
What we're doing is we're tying in Central Pike to the specifications, working with TDOT. This is a state highway, so it's a TDOT project. So we're working with TDOT on the new alignment of Central Pike, and we're taking it several hundred, probably 500 feet in each direction here. So that's what the initial phase is going to do.
Okay.
One thing, Marla, that Mike, you may hit on already, is a part of this commitment for this PUD amendment is the property owners donating the right-of-way for the interchange on the south side and the required right-of-way for the widening of Central Pike through our property. So substantial savings to the city and the state on right-of-way acquisition also is a part of what we've committed to.
Okay. Next question is, what is the square footage of the residential units in those large buildings?
I'm assuming that they're asking maybe about these buildings in the multifamily section and the apartment section.
I think so. The ones that you showed the rendering of?
Yes. So let's see. This first building would be, you know, over 60,000 square feet.
Okay.
And so on average, we're a little over 1,000 square feet per unit. So that would give us a good idea. So these 2 buildings here have 42 units in them. So they would be, you know, 45,000 square feet apiece, something like that.
Okay.
And overall, of course, we'll have over 300,000 square feet of residential area here.
Wow. Okay. Will there be green space?
There is a lot of green space, and right here in the central, of course, with this scale, it's kind of hard to see how much, but this is a 20-acre site, and you can see how much green space that is. This will be more formal here. We'll have, as you can see, more formal amenity space with pool, and I'm actually zoomed in close enough where you can actually see some of those areas a little bit better. Pool and cabanas will have fire pits and areas where you can you know, sit and watch TV and have interaction space. And then on the periphery, of course, we're leaving a lot of this natural vegetation on the periphery. So this will be more softer space, and this is more formal gardens. a lot of green space, yes.
Okay. Next question, will there be a big enough conference center to host major events?
Absolutely. However, this conference center is kind of down the road a little bit. That's obviously not going to be feasible until the interchange comes in and the overall project matures. But absolutely, I mean, I think that you're looking at a conference facility there that'll definitely be able to house major events there.
Let's see. How many additional residents in this development, and is there a plan to build an additional school to accommodate?
Right now, we do not have a school site or plans to build a school. In my experience, as far as the number of residents, so we're looking at 300 units here. And then we have another 53 residential units that will be probably 10 years down the road. It's quite a ways before this side of Central Pike will be extended most likely. But there's another 53 here. I will tell you that it's my experience that the single family tends to have more childs per household than multifamily. So, you may have, 2 children per household here on average. So there's 100 children there, but in 300 units of multifamily, these are predominantly young professionals or maybe retired or kind of a bell-shaped area. So I would anticipate there only being 45, 50 children that are going to go to a school here. So I don't think that there's enough there that even really warrants a school. I think if we talk about schools, I think we need to focus on the taxes generated by this multifamily project will be over $300,000. Most of that goes to the county, and then half of that goes to schools. So this project will generate probably $150,000 a year to the school system alone.
Awesome. Any plans for restaurants in this development, in the office buildings, or standalone?
Absolutely. Of course, that's market driven, and that's going to be a part of the maturation process too. You have to have the rooftops first, traffic, and then we'll do that. But absolutely, these mixed use buildings are prime, and I would see white tablecloth type restaurants. If anybody's familiar with Bricktops or J. Alexander's, I mean, I think that one of these spots along through here would be ideal for them, and we definitely would like more of that. There's a possibility of even getting some type of restaurant in this commercial building that we're doing as a part of this multifamily project. But absolutely, that's the whole driving impetus to a development like this, where you have those integration of uses, and of course, the people that live here, the residents, the surrounding residents that are coming in from this area will be able to support that. And then once you get hundreds of people in these office buildings, they're going to support these restaurants as well. And that'll provide, hopefully, a higher level of restaurant experience too. And in a variety of restaurants, we'll have fast casual, white tablecloth, a lot of options there.
Will the walking trails be extended?
Oh, absolutely. As a part of the Providence Parkway, this walking trail will be extended all the way down. Absolutely.
Part of not only the 10-foot trail down Providence Parkway will go all the way to Central Pike and probably beyond at some point, but there's an existing trail between the Creekside Apartments and our Providence Central Apartments that will also ultimately be extended north to the interstate. So there'll be a pretty extensive trail system as this moves forward.
So that goes all the way up north. So it'll be a nice trail system through the entire PUD. And I think this is what Rob said. In addition to that 10-foot trail, we've got a 7-foot sidewalk on the other side of Providence Parkway.
Okay, I think that's all the questions,
Okay.
unless anyone else has anything.
One more thing, you talked about restaurants. The kind of unique thing about the mixed use ability for this project is the restaurants and the different uses are sort of interchangeable with all these buildings. The orangish buildings you're looking at are all expected to be sort of a commercial establishment, banks, restaurants, that type of thing. But all of these mixed-use buildings, the L-shaped buildings there on Providence Parkway, all the office buildings, they'll all have the opportunity on the first floor for those type of uses. That's what makes the mixed-use development unique and exactly what I think everybody's wanting.
And you'll be able to have service providers in there as well, Charles Schwab, those sorts of things, places to get your hair cut, all the things of daily living you'll have right there. That's kind of it's to almost mimic a downtown situation where you have just all those uses in a relatively close proximity, so you can walk through all of them. And that's the benefit of the traffic too, obviously, because once you're there, living there or there to work in one of the office buildings, then you theoretically you park your car because you just walk around this like a neighborhood at that point.
Mark, and for the remarks for the process here.
Yeah, I'd like to, I'd missed part of what you said, but if it's wrapping up, if that's what you were asking me, I'd certainly appreciate you and Mike and all of the work that's gone into that. I'm excited about it. I'd just make a quick comment, and I want to thank District 4 Commissioner Jennifer Mullally and Vice Mayor James Maness for joining us this morning. This program has been recorded. We'll have that available if you'd like to get it and share it with those that maybe could not have made it this morning. Also want to just highlight a couple of things that are on a regular basis now. Every Thursday from now until July the 16th, when early voting starts, at 10 o'clock in the morning and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we have Coffee with a Candidate. It's just sort of a little interview with candidates that are running in contested races that serve Wilson County or Mount Juliet. And then on Monday, we have Mount Juliet Monday. Kenny Martin this coming Monday, 11 o'clock. We just get a 30-minute update of what's going on in the city. Jamie Luffman, our fire chief, James Maness have already committed to future weeks. And then on Wednesday, we have Wilson Wednesday. And we have county representatives for 30 minutes. I believe that's from 9 to 10. I think, Rob, unless I'm missing something, I think that's it.
I think we're good, Mark.
Mark, I appreciate the opportunity.
Mike, it's been a pleasure to work with you. I'm glad to see something being done out there. I will remind everybody that this is something that we certainly support. It's right in line with keeping our community a place that people want to invest their capital in. We think that traffic and generated will help the local businesses who are needing customers and want customers. And to think that we'd have a stream of customers for the next 20 years in addition to what we have makes Mount Juliet even more exciting for business. And
absolutely,
I'm sure we'll be hearing about it, but we'll be telling you how you can get in touch with your, to make sure that your comments, everybody listening, if you want to share your feelings with the local Board of Commissioners, we'll make sure you have access to that, so be watching for it. If that's it, I hope everybody has a blessed weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.